Hey, this is TK Irish at Camp Kennerk podcast. It's Sunday, it's sports. This is a special edition. You know, we all love the game, baseball, football, whatever the competitive spirit there is in you. But it's amazing when you really think about the game. There's maybe four or five plays that define the whole outcome of the final. And giving that some thought, I wanted to share with you that the fact that life is like this is that maybe you have 4, 5, 6 days in your life that define you. Unfortunately, in this situation, you don't see it immediately. It may take 10, 20, 25 years when you look back and you say, gosh, that's that day right there. That's the one that changed me. That's the one that put me in another direction. So with that said, I know Doug the neighbor has one of these days that's defined his life, and he wants to share it with you. So, Doug the neighbor, it's good to have you today.
TK, it is so good to see you on this particular day, March 29th, 2026. I am in remembrance and of my 12th anniversary of my heart attack that happened 12 years ago. And I am very introspective of all of the things that have happened since that heart attack. And I would like to tell you that story and share it with all of our listeners in the galaxy. I came from New York City after 32 years, and when I hit age 65, was eligible for Medicare, and then decided I needed to get some regular medical attention and signed up with health, who was it? Humana at the time. Or no, excuse me. Let me back up a little bit. I didn't even have health insurance. I was qualified for Social Security at age 65. Let me clarify that. And when I got here to Austin, I signed up for a doctor to go to regularly for twice a year checkups, health checkups, which is part of Medicare. And also because I was home, I was back in Texas. I was meeting new neighbors and I was working at the golf course. I was biking. I was playing basketball, doing a lot of walking because of my days in New York City, and was enjoying the good life here in awesome Austin, Texas. I went to the doctor, and the doctor gave me an EKG, part of the initial thing, and he looked at those scratchings on the piece of paper. If you ever look at your EKG, they go like this. And he said, "Well, you're pretty healthy for a 65-year-old guy." And I said, "Well, I bike and I golf and I shoot basketball, so I'm feeling pretty good in life." And he said, "Well, you're looking pretty good." 2 weeks later, while going from the grocery store carrying some bags, I was walking up the street and I felt a little something in my heart. And because the doctor and my own feelings, I felt I was in good shape. I said, "Oh, Doug, you're out of shape. You're out of shape." So I just continued on home. And then 3 or 4 days later, I was biking to the golf course when I passed right in front of O. Henry Middle School over here, and I had a heart attack. I face planted off of the bike and landed square on my face, true face plant. And a young man named Marco Jelinek was walking his dog, and on that particular day, he decided to change his path of his walk. Now, this is going to be very interesting of what has happened in for other people who I call angels and how they came to me. Marco changed his walk with his dog, and he saw me face plant and thought, "Oh, that's just some homeless guy there, you know." And he came closer and says, "No, this guy's not homeless." And Marco didn't have his cell phone, so he started stopping to stop traffic to get people to call up to the fire station up at Windsor for emergency service to come by. Now, a man named Mark Knight, who was a Travis County sheriff's deputy, was there for a track meet, and a week earlier, he had redone or retrained for CPR. So he came on over and started CPR on me. Well, a biker named Dr. Ron Burnett had gone along Lake Austin Boulevard and he was going to continue, but the light was there, so he came up Exposition Boulevard. He changed his path and he came on up and he's joined in doing the CPR with me, for me. Okay. Now, another doctor who happened to be there for the track meet, he wandered on over. So he started in on the CPR with me as the crowd slowly was around me. Now, I knew nothing. Last thing I remember is that I turned the corner at West 10th to get down to Exposition. Then I face planted. And then the second doctor was Dr. Jesse Chinese, Dr. Jess Kiao, Qiao. And small world, he had finished his residency here and he moved out to El Paso. So he's out in El Paso where I'm from. So you see how this whole thing is tying in closely with different paths of fate. Okay? Then the final angel that came was a man named Douglas Foster Spencer, who was from Houston. And he had an oxygen tank in his car. I will be calling each of these people today to say thank you, and these are my angels. Now, when the emergency services got there, they hit me with the paddles, the get the heart stuff. And I call it the cattle prod. Everyone in Texas knows what a cattle prod is. And the crowd that was gathered around kept noticing that I was as blue as a smurf. Blue as a smurf. That was the term they all used. They put me in the emergency services, and the emergency service people, fire department, that sort of stuff, Christopher LaFleur, Daniel Martinez, Anastasio Morenas, and James Kobler. These were the people that were there for emergency services. All right. They took me to Seton Hospital and they started the whole process of me trying to recover from a heart attack. Here is where it gets very interesting. The police, whenever you can say your cell phone is locked up, your cell phone, the police go boop, 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 they can get into your cell phone. All right. And at the very top of the cell phone was this gal named Aileen who had done my hair. And so they called her up and say, hey, do you know this guy, Douglas Golan? He's having a heart attack. She said, well, yeah, he's one of my clients. What's the problem? Well, I don't know any family members. So the next name was my cousin up in Ottawa. All right. So all of a sudden, he gets a phone call from Austin that someone with the last name is his had a heart attack. And so they slowly went down all of the phone numbers. Now, that was kind of interesting at how this all works. Then, when they took me to Seton Hospital, as they went through the phone, they contacted a good friend of mine named Dr. Mike Edmond, he and I went to high school together. We're running buddies from many, many years ago. And he's a doctor here in Wimberley. Okay. And he drove to the hospital because he knew who I was. And now, more interesting, the heart doctor, Dr. Paul Roach, walked into the room And he saw Dr. Mike Edmond and he said, "What are you doing here?" And Mike looked at Dr. Paul Roach and said, "Well, I'm good buddies. I went to high school with this guy who's laid out like this." Now I know nothing, I know nothing. And so that's the whole story. And then Dr. Paul Roach, the heart doctor, said, this guy, he's good. He's good. We can save this guy. At age 65, you have a heart attack, the oxygen tank, the immediate CPR. And so what happened was they then put me in a ambulance and took me from Breckenridge. They took me to Breckenridge first, then I went to Seton. Okay. Now I'm not completely out of it. All right. Now here's the funny thing. Here's the first funny thing. All these coincidences are interesting, and then the funny thing. They put me in an ambulance to take me from Breckenridge, where they first took me, to Seton for the heart operation. They charged me $950 for the ambulance. It is not covered by Social Security, okay? Or Medicare. So, okay. So I got that bill. The heart operation, and I'll read the official term here. Hang on just a second. Okay. A multivessel coronary artery disease, mitochondrial infraction, cardiac arrest. In other words, multiple blockage of the arteries. Okay, and it ended up being a quadro. They had to replace all four, and they took a big vein out of my leg, and the scar still there. And then that's what they used to repair the arteries around my heart. Now, before they could do the operation, what they had to do is first lower my body temperature. It's because when you lower the body temperature, the blood moves a little slower and you don't need as much oxygen in your brain, as I understand. Okay. If we have any doctors listening, please educate us. So that is what happened. And then the heart, after 2 or 3 days, they de-thawed me, gave me the operation when I have the zipper. I have the zipper right here. And then on Thursday. Now, let me back up on the timeline. It was Saturday at noon that I had the heart attack, biking. I went to Breckenridge Hospital, then to Seton, where they put me into deep freeze, and then they operated on me. And then on Thursday, so for 6 days, I was dead. I was a goner. I mean, I was truly a goner. The emergency service people saw that I was purple as a Smurf. They hit me with the cattle prods a couple of times, and so I was purple as a Smurf. Thawed me out, operation, and then Dr. Mike is there because they knew that they were going to bring me out of anesthesia on noon on Thursday. So he had called a couple of my friends, okay? And he slapped me around a little bit to wake up. All right, so I'm laying there and I'm out of it. I know nothing for the last thing I knew was biking. Okay, that's the last thing I knew. So I'm laying there and I'm slowly coming to, and I see somebody's here and somebody's at the end of the bed and some Mike's over here, and I was calm. And I couldn't think, why are all these people in my bedroom? That was my first thought. Okay, why are all these people in my bedroom? I couldn't figure it out. And Mike keeps slapping me to come out of it. And he looks at me and he says, "You've had a heart attack." I go, "What? A heart attack?" And so I took my hospital smock and just pulled it on up to look for the zipper. And of course, with all my friends around me, I'm now exposed to God and everybody. So there was that situation, the first really funny situation. All right. So that was kind of interesting. Then 9 days later, I was driven home. But one of my problems was, and I had friends as angels who were around me, I couldn't figure out who are these angels who saved my life. So here is a photo that was taken in the hospital with a little sign that said, "Did you save my life?" Now, my weight went from about 225 down to 180 during this. And I hadn't shaved and that sort of stuff. But did you save my life? I needed to find these people who uh, were angels. So when I got home, I also had these flyers printed up to pass around the neighborhood with the thought that it was somebody in the neighborhood because it happened over at O. Henry School, which is a couple of blocks away. So then word got around that I was looking for these angels. And so there was a newspaper article on what's the date here? May 5th. So this was almost 6 weeks after my heart attack. A newspaper article stated heart attack victim looks for angels. Okay, the word went out. And then the TV people came on over and they interviewed me. So it went out on newsprint and then also on TV. Now, I eventually found these five people: Marco Jelnick, uh, Mark Knight, Dr. Ron Burnett, Dr. Jess Quio, and I call them and I call them up all the time. Oh, the writer for the newspaper article was Andrea Ball with the Austin Statesman, and then the initial TV interview was with a lady named Betty Cross of K-I, yes. She came to interview me here at the house and asking about how your heart attack, looking for these people. So I'm talking with her, and I said, "Well, I'm from El Paso." And she goes, "Well, I'm from El Paso." I said, "Really?" "Well, I went to Eastwood High School." And she goes, "I went to Eastwood High School." So you see how here is the confluence of events and people and how it all worked. And it's only divine inspiration that these things happen. And so on a day of remembrance, I remember these people. I will be calling them up and saying, "Thank you for saving my life." And when this happened, I said to myself, "Doug, you have been given a new life. You've been given a new life." So I often refer to myself as Doug the Neighbor 2.0. Doug the Neighbor 2.0. And so my goal in life is to help people and make people smile. To help people and make people smile because of this, because I have a whole new life. And also the other aspect that because of this event, and I'm full of it, Texas charm, I constructed a speech of about 30 minutes long that I gave to the Travis County Heroes lunch dinner, where Mark Knight, one of the Travis County deputies, was given a hero award, and they asked me to speak, talking about my events concerning that. And I gladly did. And then I gave the speech at Del Vel High School. So this year, I am continuing to find a situation where I can give speeches to some people, groups of people, about my story and the value of CPR. Now, hang on just a second. I just dropped a piece of paper. And I've also started a situation that I noticed my research. You always know I like to look at odd things. That here in the state of Texas, we have 50,000 heart attacks each year. 50,000 heart situations, disease, heart attacks, 20,000 are of which are fatal. So I thought to myself, we need to have more people on the street that can do CPR. I was very, very fortunate that these people that came to me were professionals, they were doctors, but trained in CPR. But we need more people in our society. I came up with this idea and I have been slowly working at it called Texas CPR. And what I am trying to do is through my contacts here in Austin and friends and doctors to initiate a situation where to graduate from high school, to graduate from college, you have to be CPR certified. Plus, any felon who is being released from jail, city, county, or state, that they are required to learn CPR, be certified by CPR. And how am I doing this? I am contacting state legislatures and state doctors to get this passed through the next session of the state legislature. With the state legislature meets every 2 years. So I've got plenty of time to work on it, but every day I make a phone call and tell people the value of CPR and getting more people who are CPR certified. CPR certified. So this is a very special day for me, March 29th, 2026, the 12th anniversary of my heart attack. And that is my story. And so my free advice and wise words to our listeners around the world, keep smiling, keep laughing, keep walking, enjoy life, and learn CPR. Just learn CPR. TK, that's my story on this day of remembrance. And I am very grateful to have you as a friend and our efforts on this podcast that we're able to get this word out to the people. The value of angels came from nowhere, and the value of CPR. Thank you, my friend.
Tomorrow's not guaranteed, so let's move forward and be positive. Aaron, go ball.